Kia ora, and welcome to Constellations and All That. I'm your host, Tracy Cartwright, and together we will be exploring the world of family constellations with facilitators and clients from around the world, looking at different perspectives and experiences in the work, having a cup of tea and just chatting with some friends around their experiences in constellations. We'd love for you to join us. I hope that you enjoy this series as much as I have loved making it. Kia ora, everyone. Welcome to Constellations and All That. Today, I have the pleasure of talking to my friend and colleague, Fernanda. Welcome, Fernanda.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me here.
Yeah, great that you could make it. I would love for you to introduce yourself a little bit for the listeners and the viewers so they can, hear a little bit about you.
Yeah, so my name is Fernanda. I am originally from Brazil and have been living in Australia for 17 years. I did my training in family constellation in Brazil and in Australia, and I also did a training in systemic education in Brazil, and have been working. I worked in childcare for 25 years and have been working as a support worker and now as a case manager in youth work. Yeah.
Wow, what's that? Varied career. Yeah. Beautiful. So you did a bit of study in Brazil. Who was your teacher in Brazil?
A few. Isabella Oliveira. She used to teach at the Hellinger School in São Paulo. And then I had Cristina Florentino. And I did a few courses, but the two main ones were those two. And in Australia, I had Edwina as my
Beautiful, yep.
trainer. Yeah. And systemic education I did with Ellen Vieira da Fonseca from Brazil and have done as well with Marianne Frank.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Great names, great names. Fantastic. So how did you first meet constellations? How did that come into your life?
So I tried to fall pregnant for many years and went into a journey of doing everything I could to figure it out what was going on, like all the holistic therapies,
Mm,
everything. I went vegan, I went vegetarian. I did everything I could possibly and then I found Brad and Caroline, that he's a family constellator, and he did a constellation for me on that. And then I fell pregnant. I'm not
beautiful.
saying it was the constellation, but it's interesting because, I was doing everything I could. And I guess when I did the constellation, it really showed me another layer,
Mm,
another layer of things. And it like I said, it's a package, isn't it? It's the right time. But I guess when I did the constellation, I like to say, do you know blinkers for horses?
yeah, yep. Little.
And what I feel is when I found constellation, it went like, and I was like able to see life from a different perspective and with so many layers that I was probably aware, but it wasn't important, like I knew that I had my ancestors, but I didn't know, you know, the importance of them in my life. One
Yeah.
of my trainers, she says we have like a warm back, like own it. We have it. It belongs to you.
A
Like
what? Sorry?
so I don't know if the expression would sound right in English. Like she says a hot back.
A
Yeah.
hot back.
Like
Yep.
it's there, like a warm back,
I've
like
never heard that expression, but
because it's like
so
in
she's referring to
Portuguese.
like there's energy behind you. Is that what she means?
Yeah, yeah. So
Oh,
in Portuguese it means a hot back. That doesn't really make sense in English, but it's pretty much saying like, the amount of energy that you have behind you, it's like, and when I realized that, the importance of acknowledging all the women that came before me, and
Mm.
the women and the men, but talking about when I went to look for my pregnancy and everything that was happening with me, how everything that happened before us are part of us. And it gave me a completely different perspective to life, and
Yeah. Yeah.
mm,
I mean, you could take that term a hop back to be menopause, but that's just where my brain went for a moment. But that's a whole nother subject, right?
yeah.
And you can say no to this, but can you share a little bit about how that constellation unraveled? Like we're just jumping in here, and if you don't want to, that's okay as well.
Now I'm happy to talk about, and I think, so in the constellation, pretty much I had my feminine line, yeah, and I had them sharing motherhood as a task, not a maternal thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a and I'm not saying that no one that they didn't love their children, but falling pregnant, it was like an expectation.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
And
expected. You get pregnant, you go, you get married, you get pregnant, you raise a
yeah,
family, that
like
sort of thing.
you have a family, you are the one that is, popping babies, and they all had lots of children. And on my constellation, I asked permission for me to do different. And I had the blessing of them, you know, giving me. And one really special thing that happened is that Grandma said to me on the constellation, I trust you. You can do different, right? It took a long time for me to process the whole constellation, and I didn't talk to anyone. I didn't talk to mom and grandma. Grandma was still alive. After like 2 months, I called grandma and I really wanted to ask, like about, how was when you had children and have that conversation. Anyway, we did have a conversation, but not as deep, and I didn't explain everything to her, but she repeated the same words that the
Wow.
person that was representing grandma here in Australia, and she was in Brazil, she said to me on the phone the same thing.
Wow.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? It's what we were saying before we started. Like, this work never stopped to amaze. Like, it's just
Mm.
so special. Like, for me, I see constellation as a big present because it can give us like a different perspective, like a
Yeah.
different view, a different way of looking, like, and it's somehow lighter.
Yeah, I often say once you've looked at it through the lens of constellations, it's very difficult to look at it through another lens.
It is. It is, isn't it? And I actually have a text that my systemic education trainer gave it to me that talks about the the lenses, the glasses that we put on, and
Yeah,
how it gives us a different perspective to life as a
yeah.
whole. Like,
Well, it's that systemic, and I think, gosh, imagine if we taught our children to think systemically.
Mhm.
Mm.
Yeah. And that's what, when, I always talk about systemic education I did my Bachelor of Education in Brazil. So a teacher in Brazil, my qualification is not recognized in Australia, but I worked in childcare here. And yes, for education is amazing. But one thing is that systemic education, it's for life. It's
Yeah,
not just for teachers. Yeah, because it is how we perceive, others. And everything that I learned in the course, that it was really talking about the classroom and the teacher, and the relationship in an educational setting changed my life so
mm,
much because,
mm,
and and everything that we learn there, it can be applied in your day-to-day life and can be applied for everyone. I like to say that it is for everyone that work with people. So
yeah,
like, on the course that I did, we had like different people from, doctors, nurses, physiotherapists, like everyone that works with people. and it's just amazing. I think it's we are very lucky to have access to those lenses.
Exactly. Imagine if you went to the doctor and rather than them just seeing you and or your symptom, they saw you and your system. They looked at you, they could see beyond you, right? And
It
what's happening
is.
in the system.
It is.
You'd need more than 15 minutes though, wouldn't you? Like it's the medical system. I don't know what it's like in Australia, but we get 15 minutes with the doctor.
Now, if you get 15 minutes, you pay the higher price for a long appointment. If you're in and out, you pay the 111 or 100 and whatever. But if you do a long one, the other day I was for 15 minutes and I paid $170.
Fudge cakes, really? Wow.
And it is what you're saying. Unfortunately, they are not even looking beyond anything. It's
Yeah.
just symptom, it stopped the symptom. It's not looking at you as a whole, isn't it?
Gosh, let's put that
Right.
one into the field for the consciousness to, and we don't have to answer this. We just put
Yeah,
this out there. What would it be like if more people could look systemically? Yeah, just what would it be like? How different would the world be?
yeah. Look, I don't know if you have ever heard, but in Brazil, we do have constellation. Like I said, in the educational settings, you have doctors, you have the lawyers. So in the
Amazing.
justice
Yeah.
system, and it is amazing, like just to be able to be supported from this perspective, because it's like looking at a child with every day they're diagnosing and giving drugs, but
Mm,
looking at a child, considering their family system,
yeah.
considering, you know, beyond, and not just trying to eliminate the problem.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel very lucky. I've had a couple of doctors train up with me,
Yeah,
and one of them is very dedicated to making change in the medical system. So in the way that things are
yeah,
seen and perceived. So
yeah.
so
That's
there's
great.
change happening. This so yeah,
Yeah,
very very lucky. And I have another doctor booked in this year to train with me as well. So it's great just getting out there. I've had teachers and educators and you know a real variety of people. So it's getting out there. Haven't had any judges yet because I do
yeah.
hear that the judges are king. Is that your little boy? Is it? Is he
Mhm.
wanting to come in? He can come in.
He came and he was talking to me, and I just did like, but he's
That's
okay.
like me too. My son's talking to me, and my hand goes like this.
Yeah,
And I just continue to talk. He's my little boy's 20. He's a man now, so
yeah,
I can get the gist a lot easier.
yeah.
I've just stopped calling him a boy. Maria told me off the other day because I called my husband a boy as well. I was what's that? Because we were at the immersion, right? In Rotorua. She says, "And how's everything at home?" I said, "Oh yeah, the boys are good." And she looked at me. She says, "Tracy, they are both men." I went, "The men are really good at home. Thank you, Maria, for the reminder." You know, I call my daughters girls, but they're not. They're women. Sometimes we need a little gentle reminder from Maria.
And it is, isn't it? Like, I guess some things that we do without thinking, sometimes it gives us a message of how we
Mm.
are, directing to,
Well,
and
it's also a little bit about what's there for you too, right? If we're referring to everyone else as boys and girls,
yeah,
what is that saying back to
uh-huh,
me?
yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
It says a lot about how we perceive the others or how we perceive ourselves, isn't it?
yeah, yeah. So it took me back a moment. I was like, right, yes. Thank you for the reminder. And careful what we speak, the four agreements. Be
Yeah.
impeccable with your word is one of them.
Yeah.
So tell me, when you're talking with people, how do you describe family constellations? How would you tell someone what you're up to?
Look, um, where I live, it's something that it's not very well known. So I often have those conversations. And I find that people understand or, if we talk about generational trauma, yeah, because it gives them that perspective of, different generations and things that get passed on to the new generation. Like it's just not a therapy, but a process that we do to bring to light what needs to be seen. Yeah. And I guess when we start talking about constellation, we can talk for many hours, isn't it? We're
Mhm.
very passionate about it. So, yeah, look, you put me on the spot with
That's
that
okay.
one.
That was really good anyway. I mean, like you say, once you start that conversation, you're talking about the generational,
Hmm.
and it flows, and it depends on who you're talking to too,
It
doesn't it?
depends. It depends of their understanding, or if they're open, if they're not. Sometimes you start talking to people and they love it, isn't it? And they like, oh my gosh, and it's like something, the conversation just flows. And
Yeah.
sometimes you're talking to people that have no opening to look at
Mm,
mom and dad, or like to
yeah.
look, I like to say, like, to take responsibility for their actions as well, because it comes back to that as well, isn't it? Like, we don't do a family constellation and make magic. We do a family constellation, we bring something to, like, we put light into something that needs to be seen, but we also need to take our responsibility and
Mm.
change things. And it's not just you don't make magic to something that happened in the
It's
past.
not about blaming. It's about
No,
seeing what's there. Yeah,
seeing what's
exactly.
there, and in a lot of times taking responsibility. There's a lot of, self-awareness of how do I behave and what do I do. Oh, I'm loyal. Am I doing the same? One time I said to someone, to one of my trainers, I don't remember who, okay, I understand it's a loyalty. Yeah, like it's something that is repeating. What do I do now? Well, change, isn't it? Like it's a choice, but sometimes it's hard because it's like a unconscious choice that you just do it and without even thinking, isn't it?
But once you're aware of it, that's the beauty of this, right? Once you are aware of it and you see the patterns that you're entangled with, you have a choice to
That's it.
change. Yeah.
Yeah. But even though sometimes we have a choice, I have been in situations, or have seen, that you are aware, but it's something that is so deep, so deep. There's so many layers of it to work on, that is not just be aware, make a choice. It's a process, isn't it? Like we
Oh,
need
yeah. Yeah,
we need time to process.
absolutely. And the layers, yeah, it's not a magic fix.
It's not.
But in saying that, there can be huge shifts from one constellation.
It is, isn't it? It feels like magic sometimes, but it's not
Mm.
magic. We use the word, but it's not. Of course, it's not. But it takes some. It depends of how deep it is. It depends of, sometimes you can process something that is not as deep in a shorter period of time, and sometimes it takes a long time to process.
It
You know,
does. Yeah. And sometimes there's many other
many.
layers, right?
Exactly.
Come
Like
up. But
I think my first constellation, I just really fully, or maybe not even fully, but like got a deeper understanding after a few years, you know? Because I was
mm,
then, after a few different trainings and whatnot, and I looked back and I was like, oh, that water, you know,
yeah.
like sometimes it takes time for us to process and to integrate. Sometimes it takes time to integrate as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it does. It does. How do you because you have worked with children
Yeah.
and in a caregiving space as well,
In a childcare, and
and
then
a
after as
support
a
worker?
support worker. Yeah.
Yeah. So how does constellation play a part in that? Has it?
It plays a big part. Oh, I think having that awareness that everyone comes from a family with a different reality, with different traumas, with different, different pasts and whatnot. It is a really big change for me as a teacher, or working with children, from before and after me having that awareness, before and after me taking that blinkers off. Because when we take into consideration that that child that is in front of you acting out, misbehaving, having difficulties, that they have a past, and that they have things from their previous generations that have a massive impact on who they are,
Mm.
it's a completely different ballgame.
Yeah.
Having that awareness that we attract to each other, we attract to ourselves things that we need to learn. We attract to ourselves what resonates with our own story. Yeah. So
Mm.
one way or the other, sometimes it's gonna come because I need to see something. Yeah.
Did you hear that? There's a whole lot of people going, oh, as they hear that. I just had a moment of that myself. Oh, yes,
But it
that's what a
is.
reminder.
And
Exactly.
again, it takes us back to being responsible for our own, you know, like our own awareness of what do we need to learn? Like in a classroom, not talking about me as a teacher, as an educator, or center manager, we have so many families coming and talking to you, and children with families with different situations happening, and you see that teacher that gets very triggered about that family that are breaking up, you know, and some every now and then, because I did the systemic education, like we look into those layers, and then I used to have a chat with the educator, and they're like, oh yeah, um, I'm breaking up with my partner, for example. I'm just using as an example. It's not, I think the family constellation really brought to me that awareness of the other person, of not being judgmental if something is happening. And if I'm triggered by something, I often ask, what do I have to see? What do I have to
Mm.
learn from it? And I'll tell you, every time there's something, you know, every time there's a message, and that's the biggest gift. It is
Yeah.
not, we all gonna have things that will make us, like that you feel upset through the day, and you have, people that will come to you, or clients, family, whatever, that will trigger us. But these constellations, or this view in life, allow me to look more within
Mm.
and question within, what do I have to learn from it.
That's true. Yeah. So now, because you're not in that role anymore, you've just started a new role, which was a constellation in itself. How do you see I guess it's probably an ongoing of what you've just shared.
Yeah. And look, when I left the school, when I went to support work, right, I had different experiences. And it's exactly what you just said. It is this just rolling out that what I used to do in a classroom, but on a one-on-one relation,
Mm.
one-on-one relation, right? Because it's one client. And I think it is really that, like the self-awareness of me and the other person, of not being judgmental, of always trying to be respectful, and acknowledging, everything that came. Like I was working with a few children from that don't have, that are under child safety. Yeah. And um, whatever happened with their families, it's important for us to acknowledge that you know, they have mom and dad,
Mm.
regardless if they did something right or wrong. They have mom and dad, and it's important for them to be respected and included. So
Yeah.
I
And
heard.
just holding that, I think even just holding that in your heart when you're with those children or the people, the ones that are in foster care or anything
Mm,
like that, and or the situations where they've been that hasn't been safe for them to be with their family of origin, but knowing that
it has a
they have
a
that.
massive, it does have an impact,
Mm,
just acknowledging in holding that in your heart. I remember Mary Ann Frank, she's talking from a perspective of a classroom, but I took this to life, right? And she says, every time you are in a classroom or every time that you are with someone that you are having difficulties, imagine mom and dad behind
mm,
every time. Why? Because there's something that they are bringing from their mom and dad that has a resonating with something from my own story,
mm,
and this is so powerful,
yeah,
so powerful, and I use that constantly. Yeah, and I just, I had, like, for example, clients that were very aggressive, and everyone was very scared. I was arriving at the house and thinking, acknowledging all the ancestors and, you know, being present, being supportive. And I saw, I wasn't scared because I was there, fully. So, yeah, I think I use that as a really big tool for life. It's not even
yeah,
just at work. Yeah.
brilliant. You shared a little bit earlier about some of when I asked you about the names of your teachers.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite teacher in this
I
work? Favorites?
have many.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I have
that's
many.
a safe answer, isn't
Yes.
it?
Yeah, I
Love it.
have many. I have many. And, I believe every teacher, every trainer that we have, they give you different perspectives, and we can, get a little bit from each person. Sometimes you're going to go to a retreat with another trainer, or, and not everyone, like, we won't identify with everyone, right, at all times for your own work. And I think that it's so abundant. There's so many trainers out there that
Mm,
I have had so many that I love and really could stay here like talking about many of them. But no, I don't think one person in particular. It's a package.
great. How have you seen this work in your wider family? So, say, for example, you did a piece of work, and like you said, you spoke to your grandmother, and
Yeah.
she said the same words. But how have you seen the shifts within your family system that you feel may be related to the work at any point?
Oh, Matt, like really, really good. Of course, my mom went and did a family constellation herself.
Oh,
Um,
brilliant.
Went to, wherever she felt that it was enough for what she could manage. Um, One interesting thing is that I just remember in the last 2 years of my grandma, I think, or maybe the last, I bought a lot of books from Family Constellation in Brazil, and I sent to her house. And she kept every time that we talked, she was like, I'm reading this book from Beth Hellinger. Can we talk about such and such? What is this thing? Why is he talking about people that passed away? And it was so interesting because I was
Wow.
diving on my training, and she was, in contact, like, she had the books there and she loved reading. And in the end of her life, she read a few of Bert Hellinger's book. She never did
Fantastic.
Family Constellation,
Yeah,
but every time that we talked, we were talking about Family Constellation. It was very special. Yeah.
that's very cool. Very
Um,
cool.
my brother did a few things as well. Often talks to me. My father, not very much. And yeah, I do have a cousin that is also a family constellator and works. But I think, yeah, I see more just like with my mom and my brother. And
And because the beautiful thing about the work is, right, is that the family doesn't even have to do the work to
no,
receive the benefits of it. It's if you're doing your work,
yeah.
there may be a ripple effect for them if they are entangled with it or
Yeah, I
if they
remember a nice situation with family. So my son is 8, and until I think 6 months ago, he was still doing wee in the bed. My mother went to do a family constellation, and she wanted to do it, and she came and asked me for someone for me to oh, who can I do with? And I said, oh, I don't know, this friend, that friend, gave her some names. And she said, look, I'm gonna constellate my UTI because I keep having reoccurring UTIs. Anyway, after that, like she went and did her thing, and I had a piece with a facilitator about what was happening here, yeah, with him. We did the process, and it kind of settled, but it was still happening. When she did hers, that it was about the bladder, yeah,
Mhm.
bladder infections, he stopped.
Wow, holding it for the system.
Uh-huh. And the interesting thing is that after she did, and she came and told me what happened on her constellation, I said, stop everything. And she was like, why? And I said, because I did one with about Noah, and what came up to his one, it was the same thing that came up to your one, and it wasn't, Yes. So she did her process, and then he completely stopped.
Beautiful. So there was a little bit more to do.
How cool is that?
That's very cool. Oh, it's amazing, isn't it? What we carry. Thinking of your boy and how he was carrying that for your mum, but how often we think these things are start with us, but they don't, and not saying that we don't create our own stuff. Obviously we do, but there is always that very large percentage of us repeating the cycle, repeating the patterns, and yeah, brilliant stuff.
Yeah.
Let's see. What other questions have we got for you? You run workshops.
Yeah. Yeah. So here I live in a very small town, and I started. So last year I went to Margaret's training that it was about working with groups,
Hmm.
and then I came back, and when I came back is when I stepped out of my role as a center manager in childcare, and then I started having groups here in Mariba. Yeah,
Mariba.
Mariba. Yeah.
Where's that?
40 minutes from Cairns in far north Queensland.
Okay. Beautiful.
Yeah,
Sorry, my phone's just going. Okay, so you're running workshops there, and do you see clients one-on-one as well?
as well. Yeah, I tend to do a lot more online and a lot with Brazil as well. I do have,
Mm.
a few studying groups in Brazil that we read books together, and then through like we everyone on Zoom, and then it's not like just reading, because sometimes we stop and we have a process, and then we go back to the book, and sometimes we open, and instead of reading we ended up just sharing because everyone has too much going on, but always with the systemic lens.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah.
So if someone wanted to get hold of you, how would they find you?
I have my Instagram, that is Vida Connecting Generation.
Can you spell that?
Vida, Vida, and then Connecting Generations.
Connecting Generations. Yep.
Yeah. And on my Instagram, and I have my Facebook, but Fernanda Vitali.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I just always like to ask that question because, sometimes someone's listening to this and they're really they're hearing you, they're hearing your voice and they're hearing what you're saying, and it's just nice to to have that connection. And we will put those links in the thread
Yeah,
as well.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you'd like else that you'd like to share that you feel like is sitting there for you for the audience, the field
No,
today?
no, I'm just glad to be here, glad that I had the opportunity to join the conference, the immersion, that it was, oh gosh, a big present in life, I'll tell you. I love your
Mm,
culture, I love being in your country. It's just amazing.
yeah, it's great. It's such a
Yeah.
good experience, isn't it? And it was so good to see you there again, to have
Yeah.
you with us.
Yeah. It
Very
was so
good.
special.
Very
Yeah.
good. Well, I really look forward to seeing where you take this work, especially with the variety of work that you do, the systemic lens that you're looking through,
Yeah.
and knowing that you are in a position to make change in
Yeah,
the work that you're doing now.
I did some connections this week actually, and we are looking into the possibility of bringing some workshops to young people, like not young people, I don't mean children, but more youth,
Yeah,
like older, young adults is the right word.
young adults. Yeah, and I mean, there are so many different vital times in life, right? But there's that transition period when you're coming in from teenage into that young adult stage, and it can be really confusing. I think
Yeah,
often those milestone years are, you know, as you go through those.
yeah,
Great. That's really cool.
yeah, it's exciting.
So is Dad still with you? Is he still
Yeah.
around? Yeah. Does he, how have you seen this work with him? Particularly
Um,
seeing that your mum's been doing it as well.
I don't think that Dad is very open to look within, and it's okay. It's not for
It,
everyone.
that's right. That must be why that question was coming in because it was like, I think often because there is a very large percentage of women doing this work, and then it's okay to not have the men doing it. If that's, like it. Well, I'm not explaining this very well. Like I look at my husband and he isn't at all interested in what I do in my work. We'll
Mhm.
say that. But he's there to support me
Exactly.
in
Same thing here at my house. Not open at all. But if I say immersion, New Zealand, he says, you can go. I'm gonna have time off. So, it's amazing to have the support, isn't it?
it is, it is. And I think there's a little bit of an osmosis thing that goes on. That's what I have noticed
Yeah.
that even though my husband doesn't dabble in the work or experience it himself, there is some he is soaking it up through osmosis, through me,
Yeah,
through the
they
ripple
do. They
effects.
see the changes on us. Yeah.
Mm, mm. I know there was a period of time when I did first start my healing journey many years ago where I really wanted him to be on board with me. And that was I found it so frustrating, but that was my ego, right? Driving the
Mhm.
bus. And then once I came to peace with, well, that's not his pathway in it. It's not,
Mhm.
he's not there to do that. It's
Yeah,
not his role. His role is to support you and what you want to do in
that's
that,
it. Yeah.
and you have your role in other parts of the family. And it's like,
Yeah.
nice.
My
Yeah.
partner said to me one time, "Oh, do you want to go to I don't remember how long, but like a very, very long hiking." And I said, "Only if you come for a constellation." And he says, "Okay, I'm going." And I'm like, "No worries."
Yeah.
Because it
Yeah.
is, everyone is different. And like we need to make peace with no, we need, but it's important. It was for me to make peace with the fact that it's not because I'm doing that everyone else will do, you know?
That's right.
And it's
Yeah.
important to accept the fact that everyone that have their own choices, isn't it? One thing that
Mm.
I didn't touch base, that I guess it is something that I love doing, and I did a lot online. It's organizing events in family constellations, and I did a few years ago went to Brazil to organize an event with
Wow.
Clarice, that is a really special facilitator from Brazil. And we did a retreat in a hotel, and we had 50 women that came to the retreat. And that's something that really talks to my heart.
Beautiful. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, watch this space, eh? See what
Mhm.
you're going to create. Watch that space. Well, thank you so much for agreeing to come on and sharing your time. I know this takes your precious time away from your son. He's just home from school, so I really appreciate
Thank
you
you.
you coming on and yeah, and sharing this time with me and the audience.
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me and for having me here.
My
Thank you. I
pleasure.
appreciate.
My pleasure. Thank you for listening. Head over to Instagram and tell me what's resonated for you with this episode. You'll find me at tracy.cartwright. That's Tracy with no E, .cartwright. Or head over to my website, tracycartwright.co.nz, and receive a free audio with the gift from your ancestors. So until next time, be kind to yourself and have fun doing it.